of okay, right? Right, chat?
1 hour later.
Anyways, what's the powerhouse of the cell?
My dick, that's what. Hi everybody, welcome back to the episode of Giri's Kitchen. So this week we're gonna keep it simple and we're just gonna make a few easy Chinese foods that you would normally typically see in a cafeteria or a luncheon. And none of these dishes are very difficult to make. We're gonna have a side dish, a soup, and a noodle. And I think it's quite well balanced, simple to execute, and I'm excited to cook for everybody. So let's get into the cooking. Woo! We're gonna use bok choy. Bok choy is really simple to make. It's also pretty versatile as like a vegetable. Just be careful though, because of the leaves and how they're like layered and stuff, there tends to be a lot of dirt hiding on the inside. Like just now, I had to like kind of rinse it off a little bit, like hiding in like the inside crevices here. So we're gonna cut it in half and we wanna keep it as like a bundle. You can rip all the leaves off slowly and cook the leaves individually. That's no problem. So we're gonna try to replicate that. That's why I'm just cutting off like the butt ends of the bok choy just a little bit. And if like a leaf or two falls off, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Well, we want to try to keep at least most of these in a bundle. No way. Yes, I started cooking, okay? It's a cooking stream. Guess what? On cooking streams, you actually cook a little bit.
Cooking? In my stalling stream.
Shut the f up, okay?
Is the kitchen door aligned to east?
What? I don't even know where east is. East these nuts. God. Alright, let me cut these in half. So the cabbage or like the bok choy, just cut it in half. Just open up the middle. Okay, now that the cabbage is done, the bok choy is done, we're gonna do the cabbage first. I just heat up the oil on medium heat a little bit. I put it in there for like literally 20 seconds, 30 seconds because we don't want it to burn. And then I'm putting the cabbage in here now and we're giving it a big old stir. One thing I want to make point on is usually when you're making things like cabbage and mushrooms and stuff, I mentioned this with mushrooms briefly before, but if you don't want your veggies to get all like soggy and soaked in its like own liquids and stuff, season with salt at the very end when your veggies are pretty much mostly cooked, as opposed to putting into the beginning, because the salt will draw out moisture from your vegetables. So that's why you want to do everything, cook everything through first. I'm using my hands here because I'm a trained professional and I know what I'm doing and I've done this many times. But please do not use your hands to stir your veggies. Please use a different tool so your bare hands are not touching the oil in a hot pan or else you're gonna burn yourself. Okay, but I'm a professional, so I can do it. I'm gonna add in my MSG and my salt right now because it's mostly cooked, so now is the time to do so. This is MSG, a little bit of salt, okay? And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of chicken stock. This was like a soupy, slightly soupish corn syrup sauce that they had, so I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken stock. And the chicken stock will help kind of wilt down and cook some of the cabbage or the bok choy as well. I'm gonna show you a hack for replicating chicken stock if you don't have chicken stock at home or if you don't wanna buy it, with the egg drop soup earlier. Okay, I'm gonna make my cornstarch slurry, so we're gonna start thickening it up. This dish is just basically done, all right? Okay, this is ready to plate, guys. You see how fast this is all going to go? By the time I finish the noodles and stuff, it's gonna be like cold. I'm gonna plate this. Finally, some veggies. Okay, we'll do the egg drop soup now. 你不性感，你妈妈才性感。I am... Neon was like, you're not sexy, your mommy is sexy. That's what I'm kind of okay, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say my mom is not good, but I'm kind of okay too. Like, I get it from her, you know? Genetics trickles down, you know? Right? Right, chat? I'm putting in some frozen veggies in here. So I have water in here. And you can do whatever veggie you want. You don't have to do the veggie, but a little veggie will have a little nice color in it. So I'm boiling some water, okay? And to make chicken stock, surprise, surprise, this is how restaurants do it anyways. It's chicken powder. You don't need chicken stock. You don't need to spend hours making like soup from chicken or whatever, okay? As long as you have some chicken powder, MSG, you can make delicious chicken soup. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of chicken powder and a little bit of salt. We're gonna let that boil and let that go. I'm gonna beat a little bit of egg. Right, in the egg, I'm gonna add a little bit of water to loosen it just a little bit so it's not as clumpy. And add a little bit of salt so it has a little bit of flavor to it. I'm gonna add a little bit of MSG and a little bit of salt. Give it a little stir. So I have my eggs here that I had a little bit of water, a little bit of salt to season it. I turned the soup down to low heat. You don't want it to be boiling and rippling too much. You don't want it to be like strongly rolling boil. And then this is what you do, okay? You put your egg in a container that has a spout so you can pour easily. Don't do it into a bowl that ends up like clumping everything. And then while your soup is on low heat, you want to slowly pour in your eggs. Little by little, and you can see how it's like making these like cute little ribbony shapes. That's what you're looking for egg drop soup. So again, to thicken it, we're gonna do cornstarch again. Equal parts cornstarch and equal parts water. And then once it's done, I'm gonna put it into my hot soup, thicken it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna let this cool down. The soup is done. Yay! We're gonna start the guanciao, which is like the stir-fried beef noodle thing. I'm gonna get my beef. This is about half a pound. I'm gonna cut my meat into 2 halves against the grain, okay? The grain just means the direction of the muscle fiber. Against it means perpendicular, okay? So 90 degrees. If this is flat, you wanna turn it 90 degrees and you wanna cut it this way so it's shorter strands and it's more tender. You wanna cut it thin-ish. I have a bowl. I'm gonna put the meat that I cut
Anyways,
up here.
what's the powerhouse of the cell?
My dick, that's what. We're going to marinate the meat now. The marinade doesn't take very, very long. I'm gonna show you guys a technique called velveting. The only ingredient required for velveting outside of the actual marination is baking soda. A little bit of baking soda goes a long way. Something about the baking soda alkalizes the muscle fibers or something. It kind of like dries out the outside to make the inside more susceptible to absorbing moisture. We're gonna add a tablespoon of cornstarch. The cornstarch also helps tenderize the meat a little bit. 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. Now we can move on to actual just marinating. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, just regular soy sauce. 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce, which is what gives it color. 1 teaspoon, not a lot. White pepper, 1 teaspoon of cooking wine. Okay, and a little sprinkle of sugar to kind of balance it up. 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Okay, the water will absorb into the meat, so if it looks like it's a little bit wet, don't worry. After you let it sit for a little bit, the meat will drink up the liquid. I think I have gently massaged my meat. You can see how like all the moisture is fully absorbed into the meat. We're gonna let that sit there for a second. We're gonna do something else to it in a little bit, but not right now. We'll also do the sauce that we need for the noodle. 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce. 1 tablespoon soy sauce, and then 1 tablespoon oyster sauce. See how easy that is, chat? Literally 3 ingredients. So we have our sauce ready. We're gonna set that aside. We have bean sprouts that I washed. This one will go in towards the very end, but we're gonna prepare our green onions and our onion. Okay, we're gonna give the onions a rough chop as well. The green ones are gonna go last. The white ones are gonna go in first with the rest of the veggies. Why don't you play with these nuts, Eisen, while you're at it, okay? I'm just gonna cut my onions into strips. This is rice noodles, by the way. You wanna buy these like fresh, like softer, and they have a lot of oil on them, so you wanna break it apart. We forgot one last step. Okay, before we're ready to cook, we need to combine a bit of oil into the beef. And the oil is what seals off any extra moisture that's been soaking into the beef, just like 1 tablespoon or I don't know, 2 teaspoons. And then we're gonna massage that into the beef right before we're ready to cook, which is now. So give it a little bit of a massage. And ideally, once you cook this, it won't leak any moisture. All right, so beef is now ready. We're gonna cook the beef first. You wanna put a lot of oil. We wanna like almost like shallow fry the beef. While that's heating up on high heat, give it a quick little stir. We wanna cook this about 80% through. So separate it, make sure it's not clumped together. Still on very high heat. And just cook this patiently because we're still going to be cooking this afterwards. But you can see how like tender and soft the beef is. Like it's not large big clunks of it. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to turn the heat off. You do need a little bit more oil, a little less than earlier with the meat, but a little bit less than that. but you still need a little bit more than you think you would need for the stir-fry noodle. Everything's gonna go by really quickly, chat, okay? So pay attention. I have the onions and the green. Okay, that's fine. Don't panic, don't panic. 30 seconds. Stir-fry really, really quickly. We're gonna put the rest in now. We're gonna put the noodles in. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit of time to kind of catch some color. Now that the color is in there, I'm gonna put in my sauce along the edges. All of it. Oh wait, it actually looks kind of good. Okay, once this is done, we're gonna add in the bean sprouts and the green onion. This will take no time at all. I'm gonna add in my beef now.
A few moments later.
I'm plating stuff now, okay, because it's delicious. Okay, I think the soup is done reheating, so I'm gonna grab a little bit for Oni Bro. All right, Oni Bro, what's the verdict? Overall, quite well done. Okay, not enough.
I tried looking for you.
Food.
And here we have the completed dish. I already forgot what it was, but probably decently tasty. Brian is doing the outro today cause Jiri is too tilted. Anyways, subscribe, like, bell. Could you play tic-tac-toe or mahjong with that big-ass forehead of yours with Onibro or chat smile?
Why don't you play with these nuts, Eisen, while you're at it, okay?